All right. We'll get you an ocean lady.
Thank you.
All right. And about one more minute. All right. Actually, we are live. It's all yours, Lisa.
Hi, everybody. Thank you to this week's Learning Curve Summit. Today, our special guests are Chief Jake Miller and Fire Chief Paul Lee. Thank you both so much for being with us this week. And
Yay.
lots to talk about. We do have an active fire in North County right now, so possibly Chief Lee may have to leave us, but he is gracious enough to still be on the call. So, Chief, I'm going to let you take it away, Chief Lee. Chief and Chief.
Great. So good afternoon. Appreciate you having me on. Exciting couple of weeks we've had here within the community. We had the Avila fire that started off of Avila Beach Drive and Monty Road where Craig Canyon is. Quickly spread from just a few acres to getting aligned with the wind and moved to Shell Beach very quickly. What was very nice is that the community of Shell Beach, fairly new homes, they're built to a wildland urban interface standard. And basically, as long as the windows are closed and the appropriate landscaping has been placed there, we're not having any wicker chairs on desks, they can stand alone with quite a bit of ember cast. And you can see as a result, we didn't lose one structure within the entire community because of that fire. Weather cooperated with us around 6:30 at night, which was also a great factor from us being able to turn the tides. Things were looking very dismal for us for a while as we're across to the heights. Some things that we saw, always we have issues with gated communities, but we were able to quickly get into those gated communities with the keys that we have. A couple of the hotels, I had some palm trees catch on fire. We just remind them that their structure is designed to a standard to withstand that, and we appreciate them keeping their windows closed and making sure that they close all of the doors, turn off their air conditioning and heating, and just to kind of hunker down and keep people calm. The community did a great job listening to Chief Miller with his evacuation orders. We really appreciate that. Got a lot of people out of our way so we could bring our resources in. But overall, things that we really look for is the vegetation management program we have here within the community that helps harden our community against damaging wildland fires. It also allows us to reduce that overall fuel load. And that's what really helped along Shell Beach, reducing that fuel load that the residents have been working on for years and the businesses have been working on for years. It just helps give us that time that when we have that fast moving fire with that wind, that we can slow things down and get those resources in. One thing we did use that both law enforcement and the fire department used was a grant-funded pre-attack map. And that pre-attack map allows those resources that came in from Ventura, Santa Barbara, Kern County, and Madera, Mariposa counties to get a real good feeling of our community very quickly so that during those night hours when they're not familiar with our community at all, they have a good snapshot of what's going on, where we need to place resources in, and they can physically see it. What we found is when those out-of-county resources arrive, they're a little bit slower to kind of pick up on what needs to happen, what needs to be done, because they're unfamiliar. It's like when you travel to a new community, you don't know where all the hot spots are to go and stay and those recreational things to do. So that map really helps allow them to feel a bit better, know where things are, know what our priorities are as a city of Pismo Beach, what absolutely has to be protected and where we want to steer that fire into. Over the last couple of days, we've finished our fire suppression rehab, which is rehabbing the dozer lines, the roads that have been destroyed, for lack of a better term, mending our fences, working with the ranchers to make sure that all those roads are not only the same way they were when we came in, but hopefully a little bit better. Working with the Land Conservancy, we did put some contingency lines into their land, making sure that they're left whole at the end of this, and doing what we can to make sure that if we have another fire like this, that it goes even smoother. But that's kind of where we're at. We're just asking people to remember to follow us on Twitter. That helps with some of the evacuations. Chief Miller has a great site as well. And just follow us when those events are going on. Turn into the local news to know if you're under an evacuation warning or an evacuation order.
And
So
did you, sorry,
no, go ahead.
did you guys report on what the cause of the fire ended up being, or?
So the area of origin has been found. We will be working on that cause over the next week. I anticipate the release of the cause probably next Friday.
Okay.
We have two independent investigators taking a hard look at it, and so far they're all pointing in the right direction.
Okay.
Excellent.
Good to
So I'm
know.
just going to remind everybody that's jumping on right now that we have Chief Paul Lee, who is our chief for the fire department, and Chief Jake Miller, who is with our police department. And they're here informing us today of how we should stay safe in our town. So I had a question as far as what kind of preparedness did our city have in place that you guys just seem to like respond so quickly and do such a great job at with the fire, with getting people evacuated, with everything. I mean, it seemed, and from where I sat, like it was seamless. I'm sure it didn't to you
And
guys, but
saving all of those homes was like
right.
huge to see the fire right near all the homes, and
Yeah,
it was amazing.
and
So
not one home was
not
lost.
one,
I get
yeah,
chills talking about it. Hats off to all of
amazing.
you, really.
Yeah, I think some of the things that benefited this community more so than others is the city council really gets behind the weed abatement ordinance. They have a very aggressive vegetation management plan. Um, Mayor Woggy, he has membership on the Fire Safe Council board, and one of his goals for us is to make sure that we're doing everything we can to harden this community against a wildland fire. The community and the council has been very supportive about the California Fire Code, and in all honesty, that is the construction of those homes is what really allowed us to go into the fight and not have to worry about the homes themselves. When we have to start pulling resources off to better protect a home that maybe doesn't have good vegetation management or clearance around it, and their construction might have a shake roof, those are the things that don't allow our resources now to go off into the wildland and actually fight the fire. We're just kind of in a very defensive mode. Um, I think hats off to Chief Miller. He has allowed us to exercise as a community in our emergency operations center. And I'll let the chief talk more about this, but I think that training is absolutely huge. And Chief, if you can chime in a little bit more about that training.
Sure. Yeah. You know, in 2004, we started our contract with CAL FIRE. They immediately realized that the city of Pismo Beach didn't have all we call them all haz plans, but all hazard plans to include everything from radiological, wildland fires, tsunamis, earthquakes. And so ever since 2004, we started training as a city emergency operations center. And every year it just gets better and better. The current city manager, Jim Lewis, and council are not only supportive, but obviously inclusive as the city manager becomes the emergency services director. And so we train quarterly on different hazards, whether it's a wildland fire or an earthquake, or, you know, every other year with our radiological PG&E FEMA evaluation. And so we're constantly training in case one of these things comes up. And I think another great benefit, not just the constant training for when it comes up, but the familiarity we have with each other. You know, I think even before Paul and I were chiefs, we were working as second in commands together and going under unified command for these type of things, and working through with the city manager and finance director and planning officer and public works, and just, you know, it's just making sure the muscle memory is there. So when something like this goes down, we've rehearsed it, we're ready. You know, this one threw us some loops. You know, our emergency operations centers here in the police department with our secondary up at City Hall. City Hall was under evacuation order and the police department was under an evacuation warning. And so we picked up our tent, we moved to a new location, and everybody just picked up like we've done it 100 times. And so it's, you know, that training has really paid off for your city emergency operations center.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know the city of Pismo Beach. Basically, again, you guys are the heroes of Pismo Beach. You saved our town. You saved a lot of homes, and I know a lot of people are quite thankful. So, how is it being the celebrities of Pismo right now?
Well, thank you for the kind words. Appreciate it.
He likes being a celebrity. No, it's well deserved. You guys did a great job. So I know everybody was thankful. There were a lot of messages, I know, going between a lot of us. You know, we know the general manager at Dolphin Bay and a lot of the businesses there. And so a lot of our friends out there, you know, I mean, it was a scary time for a moment there. So I think for everybody, and to see Pismo Beach, what we thought was Pismo and Avila, on fire was heartbreaking, I think, to everybody, especially coming off of the hills of what's happening with COVID. And, you know, we've had these riots. I mean, it's just kind of, for you guys, it's been one thing after another after another. So we know that, you know, it's really affected our business community, and it's been really tough to keep a smile. But then, you know, we have people like yourselves out there that are doing the work. And I think that's a great reminder of what you guys are capable of doing and how quickly you moved into action to do what you did. So thanks again.
Yeah, quite amazing. So, Chief Lee, what should we be doing around our homes right now and making sure that we can keep our homes safe?
So we are well into the weed abatement program. If the weeds haven't been cleared yet, they're going to be cleared here shortly by a city contractor. We like to set the example, so all of the city lots will be cleared first, and then we'll be coming out in any lots that need a little more help. We'll be doing that for them. There is a cost associated with that. Other things to remember, go to readyforwildlandfire.org, and that's got a great checklist of just not for wildland fire, but for tsunamis and earthquakes and floods and anything else that could harm our community, of what to have in your go bag, and having an emergency plan and that communication plan. You know, if you get separated between your husband and wife, or your kids are at school, how are you going to communicate with them? Where are you going to meet up? So that's a conversation you want to have well before an event happens within the community. You want to have that now, and that's some great resources. I can't tell you how important it is to listen to multimedia when something like this is going on, and listen to those warnings and orders that Chief Miller will declare. You know, and take them seriously. We also remind people to not get too comfortable with coming in and out of their community just one way. Learn about those other ways in and out. So if your egress gets cut off, you have another plan, and just have good situational awareness. If you feel something there's wrong in your community, investigate it. Find out what's going on. You smell smoke. Where's that coming from? And then call the authorities. Very important. You know, we rely heavily upon the community to alert us to what's going on. That's something that may not be right, and that's how we keep small problems small.
Great. And we know right now there's no fireworks in Pismo, right? So
that's correct. Not only are there no fireworks, but we also say no safe and sane fireworks. So there are no fireworks allowed in this community without a permit. That includes safe and sane. We usually like to refer people to our fireworks show, but for this year, because of COVID, we won't be doing that. So we just ask people to take a little hiatus on that firework program, and we're really hoping people do the right thing. And we will be patrolling out there. For those that don't comply, we remind them with a $2,000 fine, and we really hope we don't have to impose that. But we want the community to be strong during not only COVID, but also during this summer wildland season.
Jake, this is a question for you. Will that be a hard fine, like if somebody is caught with fireworks?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know, especially, you know, I mean, every year, and again, a partnership with Cal Fire, it took us a lot of years to kind of dampen the fireworks on the beach. When you have people in that kind of proximity, and these fireworks are going off, they become very dangerous. And then in our neighborhoods, you know, between you know, the dogs that get riled up, the fires that can start in people's front yards, the dry grass this year, any year. But I think, you know, after what we just went through, I think we'll see more compliance this year. I really hope so. But there are no legal fireworks, not even safe and sane in Pismo Beach. And we really hope, as you can see what can happen. I don't know what the origin was exactly, but you know, these things, you know, they're so small, and then you can see what happens in a matter of minutes. And so really no fireworks.
Straight from the chief.
Straight from the chief's mouth. I'll help you get tickets. Right. Did I get a ticket book yet? So, Chief, speaking of that, so how is downtown Pismo doing as far as crime and everything, keeping us safe in our downtown corridor?
Well, we are busy. I mean, you've seen the crowds out there. You know, when we see on just a regular weekend, folks, you know, parking as far east as the Heights and taking their stuff down to the beach, that's, you know, that's a good sized crowd. So, uh, a lot of, I guess, information about to roll out. So, you know, there's a state mandate on masks. So make sure you have your mask with you. Anytime you go indoors, you got to throw that mask on. And we're really asking for people's compliance on that. Right now, the enforcement arm on that is more onto the business than it is the folks not wearing the mask. So we really want folks to help out these businesses by going in. It's uncomfortable. You know, if you're an 18-year-old behind the register, you know, it can be uncomfortable for that employee to say, you know, hey, you got to put a mask on for us to provide you service. So, you know, anybody that might be watching this, that, you know, if you can just go ahead when you step through that door, put that mask on, it really helps out the business. When you're outside, you know, you should wear one if you can't stay 6 feet away from anybody. And that's pretty much from Price Street to the beach right now.
Right. You want one, Roy?
Yeah, it's so crowded down there. And so, you know, even the officers, you know, we're wearing these ones that we can pull up if we have to get within 6 feet of folks and what have you. And so, you know, as long as we take a community approach to this, we're going to help things out a little bit. We certainly don't want to, you know, go backwards. We're, you know, just having things open up and it, you know, it's not quite like life used to be, but it's getting closer and people are enjoying the beach. And, you know, even with the amount of people we have down there, we appreciate the fact that for the most part, everybody is just enjoying the beach. They're out to get some fresh air and build sandcastles and get in the water. And, you know, again, some kudos over to Cal Fire and the lifeguard program. You know, folks are enjoying their time. That's what we're here to ensure. We want everybody to enjoy a good time here in Pismo Beach across the board. And so, you know, and that means even with the new mandates of having to wear a mask, then, you know, I mean, it helps out. And so please wear those masks. As far as crime's concerned, what we're seeing, you know, a couple years ago, we kind of reorganized up here at the police department. I'm a big believer in intelligence-led policing, and you can only do that looking at the data. So, yeah, I've been here 27 years. You think you know, the different seasons and the peak times and what happens where, and then you start looking at the data and you go, oh, wow, that was interesting. So we're now keeping a constant eye on what's going on within our city from the data we're getting. Right now, our uptick is in theft from vehicles. So we want to make sure we lock up those vehicles. You don't want to leave stuff, you know, that's visible from outside the vehicle that might cause somebody to break into it. They're breaking in both on locked vehicles and unlocked vehicles. So we're trying to keep our patrols up in the parking lots, but help us out, lock those vehicles up and put your property, you know, either in your hotel room or in your business or in the trunk if you have nowhere else. Other than that, everything else seems to be, you know, going pretty well. As you know, we're getting ready for our 4th of July. We always plan. We've been working on our 4th of July celebrations for a little over 100 years now. And you think you have it down, and every year there's a new twist. This one is, we don't have any fireworks. So knowing what to expect, we'll be at full deployment just like we are every year. We don't have outside assets rolling in like we usually do, but we'll be at full deployment. We'll be on the pier starting at 8 a.m. We're going to leave the pier open until 3. At 3 o'clock, our motor officers will come in, they'll clear the pier off, and we'll secure it up from there. We'll be in unified command with fire. They'll have a post right next to ours. And then, of course, we work very closely with the amount of lost parents on 4th of July. We always seem to have the kids. We just have to find the parents. So one of the things we also look at is the tides. And we've got some pretty good sized tides, so that leaves less real estate. The nice part is I think people, you know, without a show to wait for and a show to wait till the end of. I don't think we'll see the traffic congestion all at one time like we normally see, but I think we're going to see a good sized crowd that's out enjoying the beach and enjoying the holiday. So we look forward to it just like every other year. I don't know how many, I'll keep saying no fireworks until hopefully we have no fireworks in town. What people need to remember, if one of those things get away from you, it can really injure somebody when there's that many people in close proximity. And then out in our neighborhoods, we're just so worried about fires and safety. And it's just,
Yeah, we just had a little reminder about that. So no, I don't think any of us want that.
Yeah.
At
And
all.
so, it's a time to enjoy, here in Pismo, if you work for, police, fire, public works, I mean, it's that is your 4th of July. You're near or on the pier or downtown or something. And, I remember the chief before me, I said, hey, what are you going to do next year when you're off 4th of July? He says, well, I'll get together with friends, have a barbecue. And that's what we do every year. We just do it on the pier. So we look forward to seeing the whole community, and we just ask everybody, common courtesies, and just that way everybody can enjoy their holiday.
Nice. Now, I know this is past, but and sorry everybody, my video keeps cutting out for whatever reason. I'm going to blame it on Zoom. But when the protests were kind of like hot and heavy around here, and I know Lisa and I fielded a ton of calls and rumors and just people saying, all these awful things were going to happen. And like we were going back and forth, and I'm like, and then you hate to have to inconvenience somebody like yourself, Chief. But and then even Jim Lewis for that matter. But we were trying to get answers out as quickly as possible so people weren't freaking out the way they kind of were, and when I say people, I'm talking about the business owners, concerned with having to close up and thinking people were going to come in and ransack their places. And it was just a very crazy time. And I live in Arroyo Grande, so, there was a lot of talk about Arroyo Grande and Grover Beach and then Pismo Beach. And so we had the security of knowing, which I know Lisa's in very close communication with you, that you guys had things in place, you had things in order. There was nothing to be concerned about. Like, all of that information was coming back down and being filtered back out. But if you want to speak to that a little bit, because it was just a very crazy time, I think, for a lot of people that kind of freaked out really fast.
Well, and it was, and there was a lot going on in all cities, and anything that happens in the 5 cities area, it's all of us. The lines between Grover AG and Pismo, are so thin and they're so close that we all work together. And so, we threw the department behind the one in the 5 cities area. It was very peaceful, but there was a lot of how social media goes. And so, once something picks up and starts rolling, and you don't want to shut those channels off either. We were getting a lot of emails, a lot of texts. Hey, have you heard this? Have you heard this? And we were even using information out of the logistics centers. We were getting information from law enforcement and logistics centers out of the Fresno area, LA area. Everybody's trying to keep an eye and because resources were thinner, responding all over the place. And so, one of the things we are paid to react. That's public safety is paid to react, but we're also paid not to overreact. And so we want to make sure that everything we do is a responsible, respectful, measured approach at all of these incidents, and no matter how minor. And so, it's the same thing with the COVID, and the way the city of Pismo Beach, I think, has responded to the COVID crisis. It's been very measured and very responsible. And I'm really proud to be just a part of the city works here in Pismo Beach, because we react, but we don't overreact. We have a lot of conversation, a lot of communication. We want to make sure that we respond in a way that will make you folks, our community, proud of the city. And so even with the protests, that was another one of those. And then, with 37 special event weekends in Pismo Beach, once we saw how these protests were going, which were more like parades, that's right in our wheelhouse. We'll get some motors, we'll get some bike officers. We want to make sure both those people that are trying to get a message out are protected, as well as those rights of citizens that aren't involved. And so it's always trying to make that balance. And so, we'll continue to just, stay up on the information, plan accordingly. And I think, respect goes a long way all across the board for every member of the community. And so we keep that up, and it's forefront on our mind.
Nice. And you touched a little bit on social media, and that's kind of my wheelhouse, but and news can travel really fast, and rumors can also travel really fast through social media. So I don't know, from your guys' perspective, if that's been more of a help recently or more of a hinder, I guess, for what's been happening.
You kind of wrapped it up. I mean, in 1 minute it's working against you, and then you go to get a message out and it rolls out rapidly, and we're thankful for it. And so it's that back and forth,
Right.
but I mean, that is the way it's been over the last decade as this technology is really ramped up. But what I'll with the business community, as well as our resident community, or even visitors, if you're not sure of the information, give us a call. We'll tell you what we know, or what we think, or been able to confirm, or if it's misinformation, we'll let you know that too.
Yeah.
So.
And same here with the chamber. I think a lot of the businesses have our cell phone numbers and will message us. And if we think it needs to get to the top, then we make sure that it gets to the top. So we're always here to try to answer questions and keep people calm. Don't jump the gun when you hear something. In a lot of cases, a lot of it has been rumors. So, yeah. Thanks for that.
My question is kind of for both of you, but I'm going to start with Chief Lee. So with the COVID right now, how have things changed as far as calls that you get, like to a person that's in need? And with COVID, how have things changed when you go to help somebody, or whether it's a car accident, or whether they're drunk and they fall over, or
So yeah, things have definitely changed. When we were all locked down for a while, our call volumes obviously dropped dramatically. Our call volumes have significantly gone up. As you can see, our community is very busy. A lot of visitors coming in. A lot of the residents, tired of being inside, obviously are coming out. Really, the only big difference you'll see about us is we just look a little bit different out in the field. Mask, goggles, gloves, gowns. Historically, we were just be wearing the gloves themselves. So a little bit different when we're interacting with children. A little slower approach, just make sure that we don't scare them. But all in all, we've just seen a larger increase in call volume, not necessarily COVID related, but because of the shutdown, a lot of people come into our community, so our folks have been very busy.
And how about for you, Chief Miller, with our police, like just even pulling somebody over, I would think.
It's business as usual. I mean, we try to protect ourselves as much as we can, but in our business, especially with enforcement, I noticed the other day when somebody came, I was getting a cup of coffee somewhere, and somebody came in, and I smiled and kind of nodded, and I realized they don't get to see the smile. If we get out and we have to give a direction or an order, or you have to be able to hear us. And so trying to mitigate that and get the masks on or face coverings when we really have to. But, it's tough right now, especially with the national narrative going on. We need to be more approachable right now than ever. And so we're trying to find that balance. When COVID first hit, we didn't really know what it would or wouldn't do. And so we wanted to make sure in Pismo Beach, we were in the neighborhoods waving at folks. But the mandate, that is usually set with our officers, to get out of the car, make contacts, just friendly contacts, get out of your car, meet people, see, you know, all of a sudden I'm for the first time in 27 years, make sure you wave, but, you know, let's not get too close and things like that. So, you know, we've evolved through this COVID. You know, we kind of have a good understanding now that, you know, within 6 feet, boom, the mask goes, or face covering goes on. But when we can, we want people to see that we're looking at them and we're smiling, or answering their questions, or we're approachable. And so, you know, masks don't make people approachable. And so we went from folks going into a bank with a mask used to really scare the heck out of us. And then all of a sudden it was commonplace. Now we're trying to figure out why the one person without a mask is in the bank. So we're evolving with it. That's certainly the case.
Yeah. Yeah. I would think that for all of your officers and for the fire department also, that's got to be a really difficult thing to either go up to a car with your mask on or go up to help somebody with your mask on. And it's unprecedented times we're in for sure. So I think you guys are doing a great job though. So, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, for the business community out there, you know, for the police department, and, you know, you hear a lot of national campaigns going on both sides, you know, A Can't Wait, and some of the demand letters going out and what have you, and what the responses are from different agencies and different cities. And, you know, I just want to remind folks, and thank you for giving me a quick second to do it, that, you know, in 2004, the Pismo Beach Police Department decided we would put ourselves through a national accreditation process. And this was something that we did voluntarily. This was an organization called CALIA, the Commission on Law Enforcement Accreditation. And it is there. It was a result of the issues that we're having in society between law enforcement and our communities in the 60s and early 70s. And CALIA was formed because of that, out of the Department of Justice, and the four principal players, you know, of it, you know, with PERF and ICP, the International Associations of Chiefs and Sheriffs, the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, and there's over 500 standards that we have to comply to every single year. But I think the key to it is it's not us saying that we have policies or procedures and that we live by them. We get audited every year by a third party, an independent third party that makes sure that we practice what we're preaching. And so, you know, when we talk about police reform, your police department is in a constant phase of reform. We're always evolving. We're always looking at state-of-the-art standards, and we have to comply to those on an annual basis. And so, for the last 17 years, we're currently under our heavy year assessment, which means they actually send a team out to take a look at the department inside and out and talk to the community. And we'll have town hall meetings, phone-in sessions. And so they get to hear from the community. It's not, again, just what we say, it's what our community is perceiving. And it's the proof at over 1,200 individual items that we show, that we live up to. So that's been something that's been ongoing for a long time.
Sounds like that's a lot of training in itself also.
It is. It's a lot of training. And again, it's not just saying that we train. You know, we have to show the certificates. We have to show the hours that we've attended, whether it's de-escalation, diversity training, firearms, you know, all the way down to, you know, just the basic report writing proficiencies. So it's all aspects of the agency.
Wow. Chief, how many officers do you have? Does Pismo have?
We have 23 authorized sworn positions.
Do you need a 24th? I keep offering myself.
Yeah, well, you're doing a fantastic job, I must say. So, you know, well, because honestly, that's how we seem bigger than we are. We have a great relationship with our community, both business and residential. We have great support. We value that relationship. And it's funny, I got kind of busted at a town hall meeting once because I said that relationship we realize is fragile. We have to earn your faith every single shift. And they almost got offended to go, no, we trust you. We you know, but as long as we think so, that's the important part, because we know that every day in the enforcement business, we have to prove that we're doing it responsibly and to what our community expects of us. So we do appreciate it. And you know, I can't even tell you how many cookies we have here, and
you're going to have more tomorrow.
Yeah, and the support that's pouring out. And so, you know, we really appreciate that. And I'd like to share with you too that the visitors that are coming over they're matching that. You know, it's maybe, you know, we show respect, we give respect. We have a good relationship with our community here. The visitors that come, they seem to fall right in. I mean, we're right now down on that beach, you know, we got people from all over the place, and everybody's waving and smiling and enjoying their time here in Pismo Beach. And that's what this city's all about.
It's Pismo dice.
It's because we're Pismo.
Yeah. So Chief Lee, is there anything you want to add to us, what we should be watching out for or doing? Or
yeah, we'll be coming back into the community as the governor releases a couple more of the restraints. We can come back in and start our business occupancy inspections. So most businesses have seen us come in over the last 1 or 2 years. We'll be starting that again. I think this time will just be a little tune-up to rehash things that we talked about last time. The one thing we are finding right now is, especially with the restaurants, is they bought an awful lot of takeout packaging, and storage of that has become a problem. And we just want to remind them that, you know, we want to keep that away from sprinkler heads. We want to keep that away from exit routes. And we are more than willing to work with those restaurants to come up with a plan on what we can do. We're not going to be asking them to throw that stuff away. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that not only themselves and their property, but their employees, but and also their patrons are safe, protected. And we want to come up with a good plan to make sure that happens.
Yeah, that would be really important, to make sure that the styrofoam and all of the cardboard stuff is stowed away in a safe place, because
absolutely,
we don't need any restaurant fires, do we?
Nope, you don't need any of those.
Yeah. Our town has had enough right now. I think it's time to just enjoy summer.
You bet.
Yeah. Well, Jake, is there anything else that you want to add for us?
Yeah, if I can get 2 more plugs in. Number one, as soon as we're allowed, now that we can at least meet one-on-one again, I'd like to remind everybody that the first Monday of every month, I have what's called Brief the Chief. It's on the first Monday of every month from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's first come, first serve, and we talk about whatever you want to talk about. Everything from policing models that we practice here. You want to know more about our accreditation, come talk to me about it. Intelligence-led and evidence-based policing. You want to come in and know what that's about and what we're doing to follow that. Come on in. We can talk about that. You want to talk about barbecuing, whatever you want to come talk about. I'm there from 5 to 7, first come, first serve. Now, you're always welcome to call the PD if you need to talk about something sooner and set up an appointment. Always worth it. The other is that usually we're down a couple of positions. But we are fielding Officer Tyler Smith down as our drop officer, the downtown resources officer. He's down on bikes. He's down Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're putting an extra officer on with him during this peak time, because bikes get around much easier than a car does. And so we know the business community has always liked the bicycle program downtown. And so we wanted to make sure that we got that resource down there for you. So if you see Tyler out riding around, stop, introduce yourself to him. It's a minimum 2-year assignment. So the quicker he gets ownership down there and knows who's who and what have you, introduce yourself. He's been on about 3 years. Just a good person. So I think you'll enjoy him down there for the next couple of years.
That's great. Again, I know I keep talking about the police department, but at my store, I sit right up there on the corner of Pismo and what's my other corner? Thank you, Pismo and Price. Thank you. I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of your officers, both men and women, and it's just a great team. And as a business owner and somebody that you know, walks around and shops in Pismo, I always feel so proud when you can, you know, wave to the police and they wave back and they're so personable. And I really think that that just has to do with you being their chief and being a role model, because you are very personable with people. I hear you out on the street talking to people, and I just think it's great. So,
Oh, well,
a lot of policemen are not. A lot of police departments or policemen are not as friendly as ours are, and I just feel so blessed with our community, with our fire department, with our police department, and our businesses, and you know, our chamber, our city council. Everybody is just. We all try to work together.
Well, we're all by the beach. We're all very happy around here.
Is that what it is? The beach there?
That has something to do with it.
I think it's a good definition of community. And so, you know, that's a nice thing about having a smaller department. We're very choosy about who we hire, and I think we've done a great, the folks here at the police department, they're good people, and that's where it starts, just good people. And same with all the city employees here in Pismo. There's a real sense of ownership and community across all departments, and we love working here. We love our community. You guys show us great support, and you like us back, for heaven's sakes. And so it's a great place.
And I didn't mention, with all of the police and the fire, our public works guys, they do a great job every day also. So they're out there cleaning up and making things look nice, and they do a great job, and they're very friendly and personable also. It's a good feeling.
And we have just before I'll probably cut out here again, but so we've got some comments here, some compliments. The police were also amazing, very communicative, and they helped us feel calm about potential evacuation. We have Michael, my home is in Shell as well as my business is on Shell Road. My family is very thankful for the amazing work you do. We're very grateful. So yay, Cal Fire. Thank you. Hello, police chief. That's from Diane Fitz the Risotto. So lots of kudos out there and compliments to you guys. So
thank you.
And I'm sure more will come. So thanks again for everything.
You're all worth it.
We appreciate you.
We do. Yeah.
Very much.
And thank you for coming on today. And I hope everything goes well in North County, Chief Lee.
Yes.
And,
yes.
Yeah. And that everybody stays careful, and no fireworks.
No
fireworks.
Right.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
You'll get fined, right, Chief?
Right.
$2,000.
Yeah.
It's a hefty fine.
It's a big fine. No bueno.
That's a big one. Yeah. Well, thank you again both very much. We really appreciate your time and protecting our community, being on our call today. And we'll see you tomorrow when we're dropping off cookies.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.